Welcome back to ILTV on the hour. We are live here in Israel, bringing you the biggest headlines from the region and here. I'm Shosh Bedrosian, and today is day 706 of the war in Gaza. Let's get into all the top headlines at this hour. In the aftermath of the Israeli strike on Hamas's leadership in Doha, Qatar, Prime Minister Natanyahu and the Qatari Prime Minister are exchanging threats. Netanyahu warned, "Bring Hamas to justice or we will," Qatar says. Their response will come. Netanyahu is taking a defiant tone amid international criticism over Israel's strike against Hamas's leaders in Doha, telling Qatar, "Expel Hamas leaders or bring them to justice. If you don't, we will." Netanyahu compared Israel's strike to U.S. operations after the September 11th, 2001 terror attacks, the anniversary of which is today 24 years. Israel followed the U.S. approach, said Netanyahu, accusing Qatar of harboring terrorists, financing Hamas, and giving its leaders mansions like the Taliban did for al-Qaeda. Netanyahu argued that the same countries that applauded the U.S. for killing Osama bin Laden should be ashamed of themselves for condemning Israel. Take a listen to what Netanyahu had to say.
What did America do in the wake of September 11th? It promised to hunt down the terrorists who committed this heinous crime wherever they may be. And it also passed a resolution in the Security Council of the UN 2 weeks later that said governments cannot give harbor to terrorists. Well, yesterday we acted along those lines. We went after the terrorist masterminds who committed the October 7th massacre. And we did so in Qatar, which gives safe haven. It harbors terrorists. It finances Hamas. It gives its terrorist chieftains sumptuous villas. It gives them everything. So we did exactly what America did when it went after the terrorists, the al-Qaeda terrorists in Afghanistan, and after they went and killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. Now the various countries of the world condemn Israel. They should be ashamed of themselves. What did they do after America took out Osama bin Laden? Did they say, "Oh, what a terrible thing was done to Afghanistan or to Pakistan"? No, they applauded. They should applaud Israel for standing and up to these same principles and carrying them out. And I say to Qatar and all nations who harbor terrorists, you either expel them or you bring them to justice. Because if you don't, we will.
And Qatar says it's reassessing its mediation role and Hamas's future in the country, and also warns that a regional response to Israeli strikes is coming. The Qatari Prime Minister told CNN that the response is under discussion with regional partners to Israel's attack on Qatari soil. He says Qatar is reassessing, quote, everything about its role as a mediator between Israel and Hamas for a Gaza ceasefire, as well as the Palestinian terror group's future in Qatar. The Prime Minister accuses Netanyahu of dragging the Middle East to, quote, chaos and of, quote, wasting Qatar's time, indicating he believes Israel hasn't been genuinely negotiating. He says Qatari officials were hurt in Israel's strike and are in critical condition, cautioning that the Gulf region is at risk. Doha received support from Gulf leaders. The president of the UAE made a surprise visit, with a UAE official saying the visit by the president was a show of regional solidarity with Qatar following the Israeli strikes. And the Saudi Arabia Crown Prince made a clear statement condemning also what he called Israeli aggression. Now, the IDF continues to take down high-rise buildings in the outskirts of Gaza City ahead of expected IDF operations to continue this takeover within the coming days and weeks. The army is also near completion of 2 new aid distribution sites in southern Gaza. And while demanding that Gazan civilians leave Gaza City for humanitarian zones, Israel is rushing to prepare 2 new aid sites that we said they're under construction near Rafah at this moment. The sites will be run by the U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. These sites are designed to be safer and more accessible than earlier GHF locations. They'll include unloading areas and distribution zones so that when one zone runs out of food, people can be rerouted to another that's being restocked. Efforts are also being made to make the walk from coastal humanitarian areas and evacuation zones to these new sites as short as possible.